The silent alert from Mars. The cold wind blew over the rocky surface of Mars. There was no real wind, of course, just the low hum of machines working beneath the planet's surface. Deep inside a hidden Martian outpost called Red Point 9, a silent alert blinked red. No one saw it at first. It started as a soft beep once every 10 seconds. Then faster. Then faster still. Operator Lena Cross, a young woman from Earth stationed on Mars for research, leaned over her console. Her eyes widened. She wasn't trained for military action. Her job was to monitor underground energy shifts. But this signal wasn't from the ground. It was from space. She hit the emergency button in the command center above her. Commander Ray Dorn stepped forward. His boots echoed across the metal floor. The moment he looked at Lena's screen, his jaw tightened. It was a fleet. A massive alien fleet, more than 500 ships hidden just behind. Jupiter. Ray didn't speak for a few seconds. He only watched the blinking dots moving toward the inner solar system. Then he turned to his officer and said, "Send this straight to Earth Defense Command. Priority 1. Do not delay." The officer nodded and ran. Meanwhile, far away on Earth, people continued their lives as usual. Children went to school. Families sat down to eat. No one knew that something deadly was moving silently toward them. Earth satellites hadn't picked it up yet, but Mars did, because Mars had been prepared. Back in the Martian command room, Commander Ray studied the alien fleet's formation. "This isn't a scouting party," he said. "This is an invasion." Lena asked, "Why didn't they contact us? No signals, no warnings." Ray didn't answer. He already knew. They weren't coming to talk. Across space, on the lead alien, ship called Vurat Talon, a tall, insect-like creature named General Varkle stood at a glowing star map. His 4 black eyes glimmered with excitement. "Earth is soft," he told his second-in-command. "They are late to the stars. Their weapons are primitive. This will be quick." Another officer responded, "What about Mars?" Varkle waved one long, thin arm. "Mars is nothing. A rock with ghosts. If there is resistance, it will be erased before we reach Earth." The entire bridge of the alien warship buzzed with laughter. But something strange happened next. Their long-range sensors picked up a pulse. Just a single pulse from Mars. A strange wave of energy unlike anything they'd recorded before. Back at Red Point 9, Lena stared at the incoming data. "That wave, it's not ours." Ray frowned. "What do you mean?" She turned the screen. "It's Martian, but it's old, like ancient tech. Something is waking up under the surface." Ray didn't blink. "Then it's time we wake up too." He opened a secure channel. Black Shield protocol activate. Only 5 people on Mars even knew what that meant. Across the dusty planet, 3 dark warships powered up underground. Their hulls were coated in shadow metal. They didn't show up on any radar. Not even Earth knew these ships existed. They were part of Project Ghostfire. Ray whispered, "We'll hold them at Mars. Earth doesn't need to know. Not yet." Hours passed. The alien fleet moved faster. Still no communication, no warning, no surrender offer. Then suddenly contact lost with Mars Station 7. The last message was a garbled voice. One sentence, "It's not ships. It's something else." And then silence. A drone was sent to investigate. What it found shook everyone. There was no station. Just ash. A giant circular burn in the Martian ground. No heat, no sound. No life. It was like the station had been erased from reality. Ray stood at the window of the command tower, looking up at the stars. "They think we're weak," he said quietly. "They don't understand what we've buried here." Behind him, the Ghostfire ships began rising from the ground like silent giants. Lena whispered, "What now?" Ray replied, "Now, we show them why Mars was never meant to be touched." Asterisk, The fleet reveals itself. The darkness between Jupiter and Mars shifted at first. It looked like a dust trail or broken asteroid belt, but then the shapes moved in unison. Dozens, hundreds, thousands. The alien fleet had broken formation. They were no longer hiding. They were coming forward fast and direct. On Mars, Commander Ray Dorn stood silently in front of the tactical display. The blue holograms of Earth and Mars flickered. Now, a glowing red swarm was moving like a swarm of locusts. 538 ships confirmed, said Officer Milo, his voice dry. Battleships? Ray asked. At least 1/3. The rest are support cruisers, troop carriers, and what looks like mining tools converted into weapons. Ray folded his arms. They didn't come to negotiate. They came to harvest. Deep inside the alien flagship, General Varkol leaned over his console. His species, the Drethkar, had crushed 13 planets in the last 5 cycles. No one had ever stood against them, not for long. Not with success. His voice echoed across the dark chamber. Set warp cannons to full charge. Keep the missiles cold. No need to waste them on the Martian rock. The other Dreth officers hissed and clicked their claws in agreement. The invasion plan was simple. Wipe Mars from orbit. Move past the red planet without slowing. Reach Earth's orbit within 72 hours. Drop 20,000 Dreth soldiers into the major cities. Victory was already written in their minds. But something changed. A soft hum echoed across their sensors. Then another. And another dot from Mars. Back at Red Point 9, Lena stared at the monitor. We're picking up multiple ghost signals. It's not from our comms. Ray stepped closer. Source? Underground. All over Mars, near the old mining sectors, deep canyons, and ancient Terran bunkers. Milo's hands shook as he read the data. Sir, some of these signal codes, they're from Project 17. Ray's face went pale. That project was buried 200 years ago. No, sir, Milo said. It's waking up now. Beneath. The Martian crust, long tunnels once sealed shut by nuclear glass, began to crack open. Ancient turbines spun again. Devices not powered since Earth's first deep space wars roared to life. Massive automated cannon towers rose from the sand, like sleeping giants. They rotated slowly, their red lights glowing. No human had activated them. Yet they were aiming at the stars. On board the alien fleet, the sensors screamed. Unidentified weapons powering on from Mars. One officer barked. Earth has no such defense. Another shouted. General Varkol's eyes narrowed. They do now. He raised a sharp finger. Launch the Vanguard. Burn Mars from orbit. No delays. Back on Mars, the Ghostfire ships now fully cloaked glided through the thin Martian sky. These warships were small, but dangerous. They carried gravity. Knives, experimental weapons designed to cut through space-time for short distances. Ray spoke calmly into the command comms. Ghostfire units, begin harassment runs. Target their lead ships. Do not reveal your full position. Lena watched as 3 alien ships exploded on her screen, without warning, without impact. One moment they were there. The next, they were gone. Erased. How? She whispered. Ray didn't answer. He knew the truth. The Ghostfire-class ships didn't fire missiles. They opened rips in reality itself. In space. The Drethkar fleet began to panic. Small invisible cuts tore through their formation. Ship hulls crumpled. Engines failed without reason. Pilots screamed before falling silent. General Varkol slammed his hand on the control table. How are they doing this? We see nothing. One of his tech officers shouted back, it's not lasers. It's single quotes S.space folding. They're breaking the laws of movement. On Earth, the Global Defense Council finally received the full data feed from Mars. holograms of exploding alien ships, ghost fire weapon signatures, unexplainable energy readings. President Nora Vance stood silently as the room fell quiet. "Have we fired anything from Earth?" a general asked. "No," Nora said softly. "That's all Mars." A scientist whispered, "Mars is fighting its own war." Back on Mars, Red Point 9 shook as an alien plasma shot hit the outer dome. Dust rained down from the ceiling. Direct hit. Milo yelled. "No breach yet," Lena said, checking readings. "Shields are holding." Commander Ray spoke into the main channel. "This is only the start. Hold positions. Let them come closer." Up above, the alien Vanguard ships broke through the Martian orbit, but waiting in the shadow of Mars was something else. The Warden. A forgotten Titan-class machine, buried beneath Olympus Mons, now risen again. I had only one line of programming. Protect Earth. Defend Mars. Erase the threat dot as the alien ships came within range. The Warden's massive circular ring opened. Inside, a black core pulsed once. Then Mars spoke. A deep, thunderous wave echoed across space dot, and 9 alien ships disappeared. No explosion. No debris. Just dash nothing. Lina gasped. Ray whispered. They thought Mars was silent. They thought wrong. Echoes from the red planet. The stars above Mars were silent again, but only for a moment. High in orbit, the alien fleet twisted and turned, no longer confident. Their formation had broken. Some ships tried to regroup. Others floated helpless. Half destroyed. The Mars-based weapon, the Warden, had removed entire enemy warships with a single silent wave. No light. No fire. Just complete ERASURE. In the underground base of Red Point 9. Alarms rang as a secondary energy pulse echoed from deep under the surface. Lena Cross sat frozen at her console. "Sir," she said, barely breathing, "something is calling out." "Commander." Ray Dorn stepped beside her. "From the Warden?" "No, from below it. A signal. Not human, but similar." Milo, the tactical officer, jumped in. "It's like an echo, a voice answering Mars itself." Ray raised an eyebrow. "Translate it." The system worked for minutes, trying to decode the strange hum that repeated itself again and again. Finally, it formed into a rough sentence. "You woke me. Shall I finish the war?" Ray didn't speak. Everyone in the command center was silent. What war? What voice? The Warden was humanity's last buried Titan. But this was older. Deeper. Lena whispered, "What war is it?" "Talking about?" Ray slowly turned. "The one we never told Earth about." Far above, the Drethkar flagship shook as another energy wave passed near them. Though it didn't touch them, their lights flickered. Control systems GLITCHE. Inside, General Varkol paced in anger. "They use weapons that don't exist. Ships we cannot see. And now, a ghost speaks from the rock." His officers did not answer. He slammed his clawed fist into the hologram map. "Bring the soulfire. Prepare to burn that cursed planet from the inside out." One of his commanders hesitated. "General, the soulfire bomb is unstable. If we drop it on Mars, the planet could fracture." "Exactly," Varkol growled. "I will erase the soil beneath their feet." Meanwhile, on Mars, the ghost fire ships moved again. Silent and cloaked, they drifted through orbit, watching. The alien fleet regroup. These ships had no names, no crews, only AI minds. They were built to protect, but also to witness. Commander Ray gave a quiet order. "Follow their flagship. Don't strike. Just observe." He knew something more dangerous was coming. And he was right. At that moment, a huge object detached from the alien armada. It was black, shaped like a spinning claw, glowing with red energy. It was the soulfire bomb dot As it dropped through Mars' thin atmosphere, it began pulsing with power. Readings across Red Point 9 shot into the red zone. Lena screamed, "It's going to crack the planet. We need to evacuate." Ray didn't flinch. "There's no time. Get me a direct connection to the Warden." "But it's not responding to commands." "I'll talk to it." Beneath Olympus Mons, the Warden's mind pulsed in a giant crystal core. It did not think like humans, but it remembered their voices. It remembered orders, and now it remembered the pain of the first war, the ancient war the aliens didn't even know they had restarted, as the Soulfire bomb fell. The Warden activated its core systems. Entire underground chambers lit up. Energy surged through the crust of Mars, and the hidden echo weapon, something older than the Warden awoke. It was not a missile, not a beam, it was sound. A deep vibration that could only be heard by matter. Itself, as the bomb fell, a strange humming spread across Mars. The rocks hummed. The wind changed direction. Even machines paused, as if listening. And then, with one deep rising tone, the Soulfire bomb froze mid-air. It stopped moving. Time itself around it slowed, then it vanished, gone. No explosion. No trace. Not a molecule left behind. On the alien flagship, Panic exploded. "Our bomb is gone." "The planet rejected it," General Varkle roared. "No. Planets do not fight back." But Mars wasn't just a planet anymore. Back in Red Point 9, the voice returned. "You called the fire. I swallowed it. Send no more." Lena looked at Ray. "That voice, it's not human." "It's not AI either," Ray nodded. "It's what?" "We found here before we settled. We made a deal." "We never spoke of it," Milo asked. "What deal?" Ray stared at the screen. "We agreed to bury our weapons. They agreed to guard the silence. But if ever disturbed again, they would fight. On Earth, the Council received the reports, half the alien fleet destroyed. A weapon that uses space itself. A bomb erased." A voice in the rock. President Nora Vance whispered, "What is Mars?" "Her." Advisor responded, "Not what. Who." As the alien fleet started to retreat, their sensors went black. One by one, their systems failed. Their maps showed only a single blinking red word: Forbiddance. The Warden returned to silence. The echo. Beneath it went still again. And on Mars, as the dust settled, a small flower bloomed outside the base. A reminder that even death worlds carry life, but only if they are respected. The warning Earth never gave. Earth had still not fired a single weapon. Not one missile. Not one laser. Not even a warning shot. And yet, above Mars, half of the Drethkar fleet was already gone, in the massive command center deep below New Geneva, Earth's capital city. Glowing screens displayed live footage from Mars. One showed the Soulfire bomb vanishing midair. Another showed alien warships exploding without being touched, around a long glass table. Military leaders, scientists, and political heads sat frozen in silence. No one knew what to say. Finally, President Nora Vance stood. Her voice was calm, but her face was pale. "What are we watching?" An old general leaned forward. "We're watching something we never fully understood. Mars is not just defended. It's alive." Inside Red Point 9, Commander Raydorn leaned over the console. As Lena replayed the voice one more time, "You called the fire. I swallowed it. Send no more." Ray looked tired. Not physically, his body was fine. But there was a weight in his eyes. Like he had seen too much. He finally said, "Earth doesn't know what we built here." "What we woke up." Lena turned to him. "What did we wake up?" Ray glanced at the dusty screen. "Something older than humanity. Something we didn't make." But we did strike a deal with it years ago. She stared. You mean the echo? Ray nodded slowly. Yes, the voice. It's not a machine. It's a presence. A guardian of Mars. Buried so deep, our ancestors thought it was just rock whispering. And now? She asked. It's awake. And it remembers everything. Above the planet, the Drethkar fleet had slowed. Their warships no longer flew. In tight formation, some drifted. Some had already begun turning around. Others were stuck systems fried by unknown pulses. But not all had lost their will dot inside the Wrath Reaver. One of the last Dreth heavy cruisers, a captain named Ulvuk, growled into his comms. General Varkul is weak. The humans trick us with ghost weapons and lies, but Earth is still untouched. If we push hard, we can still reach them. His crew roared in agreement. For the Horde, for Dreth, Ulvuk raised his arm. Charge the drill cannons. Aim for Earth's moon. We strike. Their sky first. Back on Earth, satellites detected the power surge instantly. They're preparing to fire. An officer in New Geneva shouted. President Vance turned to her defense minister. Do we respond? He paused. Ma'am, all our defenses are cold. We held fire by your order. Another general leaned in. If they fire on our moon, we must reply. But before anyone could act, a low, strange voice echoed through every speaker on Earth's encrypted channels. The same voice from Mars. Stars will hear your threat, but Earth will remain silent. Not weak, silent. Everyone froze. It was speaking to the DRETH. It had broken into alien and human communication systems simultaneously. Inside the Wrath Reaver, Captain Ulvuk bared his fangs. They mock us with whispers. Weak cowards, fire! But as their drill, cannon powered up. The ship's lights blinked once, and again, then turned red. One by one, Dreth officers gasped as the ship's oxygen dropped. Their fingers scrambled over controls, but nothing responded. In the command chair, Ulvuk coughed. Hard. No, this isn't war. This is... His words died as the ship disintegrated silently. Atom by atom. No explosion. No flash. Just nothing. In red .9, Milo stared at the feed. That ship. It just vanished. Lena asked, Did the Warden do that? Ray shook his head. No, that wasn't the Warden. That was something deeper. Later that day, a private transmission was sent to every major Drethkar command post across the galaxy. The message was short and had no known source. It repeated only one sentence. Turn back. Mars has spoken. Earth will not warn again. And with it, a simple visual and image of Mars glowing red, pulsing like a heart, with the shadows of warships lying broken in its orbit. Across Earth, people still didn't know what had happened. Governments chose silence. News channels claimed it was a false alarm, a routine Martian training exercise. Nothing more, but the stars had heard the truth. And the Drethkar Empire, once proud, once fearless, was now quiet. At midnight in New Geneva, President Vance stood at her window. The stars twinkled peacefully above. But her thoughts were dark. She whispered to her advisor. Did we win? The advisor hesitated. We didn't fire a single shot, Madam President. She nodded. Then maybe we didn't win. Maybe Mars did. He asked quietly. Should we go public? Tell the world what really happened. She looked up at the sky. Not yet. Let them sleep. Let them believe Earth is still in control. Far beneath Mars, in tunnels never mapped by humans, the echo returned to rest. But before fading into silence, it spoke one last line recorded only by a deep listening probe. The last war never ended. It only slept. Until they came too close. The fire beneath the dust, Mars was quiet again, but not peaceful. The alien fleet no longer advanced. Half of them had turned back. The other half drifted, broken and afraid, unable to explain what had happened. And beneath the red soil of Mars, something massive was still waking up. Inside Red Point 9, Commander Ray Dorn stood in front of a reinforced glass window. Beyond it, the Martian horizon was calm. But he knew better. Calm didn't mean safe. Not here. Lena rushed in holding a tablet. "Sir, we just detected movement deep under Olympus Mons." Ray didn't move. "How deep?" "Over 3 kilometers beneath the surface," she replied. "There's something rising." Milo, now wide-eyed, added, "It's not the Warden, sir. This is something bigger." Ray nodded. "It's Project Iron Quarry." Lena blinked. "I thought Iron Quarry was just a myth." Ray finally turned to them. "It was never a myth. It was a last-resort weapon, one we promised never to use. Far beneath Mars, Project Iron Quarry shook off centuries of silence that it was not a ship. It was not a robot dot. It was a mobile fortress. A walking mountain, powered by Earth's lost science and alien tech recovered centuries ago. It had one job: stand against extinction. For 300 years, it had slept beneath the dust. Now, it stood up dot above the surface. The alien fleet watched the Martian crust crack open. Dust clouds spiraled up as the surface split like paper. A deep tremor rippled across the planet, and then something climbed out, tall as a skyscraper. Its legs slammed into the soil with thunderous force. Its armor gleamed like volcanic glass. Long weapon towers rose from its back. Its single eye glowed gold, scanning the sky. The alien fleet screamed in panic. Hundreds of warnings buzzed through their systems. They had no record of this. No name. No. Defense. The fortress had no crew. No pilots. Only a voice heard across all open channels. You disturbed the dust. You feared Earth, but you forgot Mars. On board the alien flagship, General Varkle stood frozen. He stared at the glowing image of the walking fortress on his screen. "What is that?" he whispered. His chief engineer replied, trembling. "It's alive, General. Or something like it, and it's locking onto us." Varkle shouted, "Raise shields. Fire everything we have. Stop it now." The Dreth warships unleashed their full strength. Plasma torpedoes. Kinetic slugs. Energy beams so bright they blinded sensors. All fired at once. All struck the walking fortress, but none of it mattered. The beams hit, but nothing broke. The missiles exploded, but nothing shook. The fortress took everything. And then it responded. From its back, a long cannon rose into the sky. Not a gun, not a laser. It was a weapon that twisted gravity. The air bent around it. Light distorted. Then dash silence. No flash. No bang. Just one alien cruiser. Gone. Vanished. In Red Point 9. Lena whispered. "It didn't fire. It deleted them." Ray nodded slowly. "That's why we were told never to wake it. Because Iron Quarry doesn't destroy. It removes." Milo asked quietly, "Removes from what?" Ray replied, "From existence. Back on Earth, every major defense." Screen lit up. Warnings flashed. Power surges rolled through their systems. Yet no Earth weapon had been used. It was all Mars. President Nora Vance stood before her war council. "Tell me we still have control of it," she asked. A scientist in a white lab coat answered, "Control? Ma'am, we only buried it. We never commanded it." "Then who does?" No one answered. The Iron Quarry fortress raised its head. A deep hum spread across Mars and space. Alien ships began pulling away from the orbit, backing out like frightened animals. But the fortress didn't chase. It just stood there, watching, waiting. It spoke one final time. "Earth is under protection. Mars remembers. The stars may forget, but we do not. Then it slowly knelt again, returning into the planet. Letting dust cover its shoulders. In minutes, it was gone again. The alien fleet did not regroup. They didn't plan a second attack. They ran. One by one, Dreth ships activated emergency warp and fled into deep space. Even their command ship left in silence, and they didn't send another message. Hours later, a communication reached Earth from a neutral alien species known as the Talari. They were historians. They had watched from afar. Their message was short. The Dreth Empire has withdrawn from Sol. They will not return. Whatever sleeps on Mars, they fear it more than they fear death. Inside Red Point 9, Ray Dorn looked out over the red sands. Lena stood beside him. It's over? Ray smiled faintly. For now. Should we tell Earth what really happened? Ray paused. No. Let Earth keep thinking they held the line. Let them keep their pride. Milo joined them. But sir, what if Mars wakes? Again? Ray looked out at the horizon, where a faint glow still shimmered in the dust. Then we better hope it still sees us as friends. Asterisk, the armada falls. The Drethkar fleet was no longer a fleet. What had once been a storm of metal and fury across space had now become scattered debris, broken formations, and ships fleeing in every direction. They came to conquer Earth. They didn't even make it past Mars. Inside the alien flagship Varrock Talon, General Varkle stood hunched over the tactical map. His claws dug into the control board. Blood dripped from his palm. A red haze filled the bridge, warning of critical failure in multiple ship systems. Recall the attack wings, he shouted. Pull back the cruisers. Form around the dreadnoughts. He paused mid-command. There were no dreadnoughts left. 3 of them had disappeared during the last attack wave. One was turned inside out by the gravity weapon. Another had shattered without impact. The third simply vanished. His second-in-command looked up. General, we have lost command. Half of our ships no longer respond. Some have entered retreat. Protocols on their own. Varkle gritted his teeth. They run like cowards. No, sir, the officer whispered. They run like those who have seen death itself and survived. Back on Mars, the red planet had grown quiet again. The surface was scarred, but still. The walking fortress iron core had returned beneath the soil. The Ghostfire ships hovered invisibly in the upper atmosphere, watching but silent. Inside Red Point 9, Commander Ray Dorn received a direct message from Earth. It read, Report. Status of alien fleet. Ray typed back only 2 words. They're broken. Lena Cross stepped beside him. Sir, long-range sensors show at least 120 alien vessels in retreat. 47 have disabled their weapon systems. Milo looked up from another console. We just picked up something weird. One of their retreating ships is broadcasting a message. Ray leaned in. To who? Everyone. He pressed play. Across the stars, the message echoed in multiple languages, human and alien alike. It wasn't encrypted. It wasn't coded. It was a warning. This is Captain Lezen of the Drethkar 9th Fleet. We came to burn Earth. We reached Mars. And Mars broke us. Do not follow us. Do not challenge them. Earth stayed silent, but Mars roared. We will never return. On Earth, President Nora Vance listened in silence. The entire Earth Defense Council stood still. The moment this message ended, she turned off the screen and said, Let history record that Earth never fired. Her aide asked, Should we respond? She looked out the window at the glowing curve of the moon and shook her head. No, we've already spoken louder than words. Above Mars, the final Dreth ships turned their engines toward the edge of the solar system. Some of them dropped fuel tanks to move faster. Others jettisoned weapon bays to lighten the load, but not all would make it. One Dreth vessel, the Black Maw, attempted a final scan of the Martian surface, perhaps out of desperation. Or curiosity. As its sensors locked onto the planet, something responded. A whisper, faint, not words, but emotion. Fear. Not from the aliens, from Mars itself. The ship's A glitched. Systems shut down. The bridge filled with sparks. Pilots screamed. Then silence. The ship froze mid-flight, drifting powerless through the void. Back in Red Point 9. Lena said softly. Another one stopped moving. Ray watched the screen and replied, "They look too long." Milo asked, "Do you think the galaxy understands what just happened?" Ray said, "They will." One day later, across the galactic communication grid, a ripple passed through every known species. The Drethkar Empire, known for brutal conquests, pulled back its fleets from 3-star systems. Not just Earth, but everywhere. They didn't speak of Mars. Again, their leaders erased all recorded footage of the invasion attempt. Some said it was shame. Others said it was fear of awakening something else. Back on Earth, the news told a different story. Alien threat avoided. Peaceful retreat after negotiations. No shots fired. A diplomatic success. No one mentioned the ancient voice from the red soil. No one mentioned the fortress with legs of stone and eyes of fire. No one spoke of the echo beneath Olympus Mons, but those who served on Mars knew the truth. 1 week later, Lena walked alone across the Martian surface in her suit. The sun was setting. The sky glowed orange-red. She paused near a large rock where sensors still flickered faintly. There was no sound. Just a vibration in the boots of her suit. Then she heard it. A soft voice. Just 3 words. Still watching. Friend. She turned around, heart racing, but there was no one there. Just the windless, cold dust of Mars. She smiled quietly and walked on. The message left behind. The stars had returned to silence. No more ships burned above Mars. No more shadows of war hung over Earth. The invasion had come and ended, not with human fire, but with something far older. The galaxy now whispered. A new name in fear. Not Earth, not humanity, but Mars. Commander Ray Dorn stood outside Red Point 9, looking at the horizon. His boots sank slightly into the red soil. It was quiet, like it always was after something huge had happened. He glanced. To his left, Lena Cross stood beside him, holding a small silver container. She looked up at him. "Are you sure they'll hear it?" Ray gave a slight smile. "They already are." Lena nodded and knelt in the dust. She placed the container down carefully, pressed a button on the side, and stood back. The small beacon hummed softly. Then it spoke not in words, but in a pulse. A rhythmic echo, sent not through space, but into the ground. A message meant for something deep below. In the dark soil beneath Olympus Mons. The pulse traveled. It moved through tunnels, never mapped. Past the slumbering fortress iron quarry. Past broken chambers and ancient engines. And finally, it reached a hollow chamber where a golden crystal pulsed once. And then again. The echo was listening. The message was simple. Thank you. We remember. And just like that, the echo replied, not in speech, but through Mars itself. The dust stirred. A breeze impossible. On a planet with no real wind blew gently across the beacon. And then a flower bloomed. Just one. Small, yellow. The only living flower in 1,000 kilometers. Back on Earth, the news had moved on. People believed the threat had passed peacefully. The public story was clean. Aliens arrived. Diplomats negotiated. Peace achieved. Only a few knew what really happened, and fewer still had been there to see it. The Galactic Council, far across the stars, held a quiet emergency session. The Drethkar Empire had refused to explain their retreat, but one ship, an old Talari scout cruiser, had recorded a strange image before its systems failed. It showed Mars glowing like a living sun, a giant shadow of a walking machine silhouetted against the red planet's light. Above it, fleeing alien ships. The recording lasted only 4 seconds, but it changed everything. The Talari archivist, an old and wise being named Oron, spoke softly. Before the council, "Let it be known," he said, "that Earth may be young, but the ground beneath their feet is ancient. It guards them, and it will bury those who come with war." The chamber was silent, and from that day forward, Mars was declared untouchable. Meanwhile, far away in a quiet orbit around Saturn, a small human ship floated. Inside it sat a single old man named Dr. Gareth Lane, the last living engineer who had worked on Project Iron Core. He watched the feed coming from Mars, read the reports, listen to the whispers spreading across alien worlds, and then, for the first time in 40 years, he opened his own private logbook. He wrote one line: "It worked, but I'm not sure we ever built it alone." He leaned back and whispered to the stars, "Who are you, really, beneath that dust?" On Mars, inside Red Point 9, Ray sat at his desk. A message from Earth blinked on his screen. "Return to Earth. Debrief scheduled." He didn't respond. Instead, he looked at a sealed box on the table. Inside, it were old files, blueprints, recordings, all from Project Iron Core, and something even older. Echo 1. He placed his hand on the box and whispered, "Not yet." Lena stepped in behind him. "They want answers," she said. Ray nodded. "They'll get stories." "And the truth?" He looked up. "The truth is buried, and that's where it needs to stay." Later that day, Lena returned to the surface. Small Flower still swayed in the breeze. She sat near it, resting in silence, and after some time, the ground beneath her boots vibrated again, just once. A soft, warm pulse, like a heartbeat. She smiled. Mars was still listening. Far away on a planet in another system, a group of alien warriors sat around a fire. One of them, a grizzled Dreth soldier, lifted a carved stone with the shape of Mars etched into it. He said quietly, "We do not speak of that red world. It is not cursed. It is worse." Another warrior asked, "What do you mean?" The old Dreth looked into the fire. "It does not rage like Earth. It does not shout. It waits. And when it rises, you disappear." He tossed the stone into the fire, and no one questioned him. The final message from Mars was never sent through satellites or com relays. It wasn't spoken in any known language, but all who had touched the red, soil human or alien, heard it. In their bones, asterisk, asterisk, "Come with peace, and you may walk on Mars. Come with war, and you will become part of it."